All right, so I am going to do a selection of videos that kind of just goes over what's going on here. Today's will be on graphing quadratics, okay? On graphing your parabolas, on your happy faces and your sad faces. All right, they call this concave up, concave down, okay? They get fancy that way. This would be a what? Minimum. This would be a maximum, remember? This would be the max height, right? You could think of it that way, the max height. This would be like the minimum height. Okay. You're going to see those words sometimes. All right. So let's go ahead and let's do one that's a little more intense. 1/2 x squared, let's say plus 2. Okay. Let's do one like this for review. Now, when I look at this, first of all, I need to identify my 1/2 or my A, my B, and my C. And that's always going to help you when you're dealing with quadratics, just so you don't get confused. You know your A is 1/2. How about I put 0.5? That's going to help you in the long run too. 0.5. Let's just use a decimal form. If it's like 1/3, then I would use 1/3, okay? Because I don't want you using 0.3333. It might mess things up, all right? What about B? Do you see a B? There's nothing with just an X. And what about C? C is 2, okay? So now looking at this problem, I'm going to go ahead and start my graphing with finding what negative b over 2a is. And if you remember, I'm going to show you that when you create your table of points, isn't that what you're doing here? Let's see. I'm trying to keep this neat so you guys can have an idea. Your table of points here, the negative b over 2a goes right here, right? In this x, right? It's the middle of it's the x of my vertex, right? Isn't this my vertex, the whole point? So this is the vertex. This point is my vertex. And the vertex is the middle coordinate, right? So that vertex talks about the minimum or the maximum, right? So negative b over 2a. Well, I look at negative b. I have negative, okay, b over 2 times a. Well, 0 is a numerator. When 0 is a numerator, the answer is 0. Okay, so 0 goes here. All right, now let's talk about what we do with this table. Remember, you're allowed to go up 2 and down 2. You're allowed to create your own x's, okay? Create your own x values. That's the next step. So I know we're not doing fancy notes, but create own x values. Go up 2, down 2. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So if I go up 2, I'm going to go 1, 2, and this one's going to be negative 1, negative 2. And we've talked about when we solve this is going to equal this is going to equal this, the same thing. But we'll go ahead and go through this. If x is 0, now we're going to plug it into the equation. It's pretty easy to see when you have a 0 involved. That's always nice. Hold on, let me just clean this up a little bit. The 0 is going to go right here. And 0 squared becomes 0, and then 0 times 1/2 becomes 0. So all of that gets eliminated. So what's left? Y equals 2. And that's also your y-intercept, right? 0, 2, that's going to be your y-intercept. All right, now 1/2 x squared plus 2. I'm going to do the same thing with 1, okay? Where is 1 going to go? Right here. This is where it gets kind of fun. 1 times 1 is 1. What's 1 times 0.5? You might be thinking, that sounds kind of confusing. If you were lost, which you shouldn't be on that problem, but again, if you are, no big deal. 1, what are we doing? We're doing 1 times 1/2. 1 times 0.5. Doesn't anything times 1 equal itself? So 0.5. So this math right here, I got 1 times 1/2 right here. I got 0.5. 1 times 1/2 is 0.5. What's 0.5 plus 2? Isn't that 2.5? And isn't this also going to equal the same thing? All right, and then 2. All right, y equals 2. Hold on. Y doesn't equal 2. Let me finish this. I'm putting the math over here just because I don't want to mess up the... I'm doing this math over here. So 2 is going to go here, and it's plus 2. So I'm going to plug in 2 here. All right, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 1/2. And remember, guys, whenever you... Or 0.5, if you did 0.5 too. Whenever you multiply something by 1/2, you're just cutting it in half. So half of 4 is going to be 2. All right, so all of this equals 2, and then you have 2 plus 2 obviously equals 4. And there is your graph. Now let's go ahead and graph it. Don't be scared to graph things that have halves. That's not a big deal. We'll be just fine. All right, if I look at my graph, obviously this isn't perfect, but we're going to have some good stuff going on here. The y needs to go up to positive 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And my x values go all the way to 2, right? And negative 2. Positive 1, positive 2, negative 1, negative 2. And those are all the lines you're going to need on the graph. I hope that makes sense. Your first one, I'm going to do the vertex first. 0, 2. Over 1 up 2.5. Over 1 up 2.5. See how I went in the middle for the half? Okay. Negative 1 up 2.5. Right here. All right. Then over 2 up 4. Negative 2 up 4. And there's my graph. All right. Here's my question for you. First of all, how many solutions or how many roots? Remember, solutions also means roots. Also can mean zeros. The way they say that is the x-axis, remember? So how many solutions? When I do solutions or roots or zeros, it talks about how many times does it touch the x-axis. And you're going to say 0, none, or no solution, all right? No solution. No solutions even, okay? What if I asked you for the, is it a minimum or maximum? It would be a minimum. If this is the vertex, right? This is also our axis of symmetry, where that x is, this x of 0 is our axis of symmetry, x of 0, okay? And that would be about it, all right? This is just a good review of graphing. You're going to have some graphing problems later on today, all right, we're going to talk about, okay? Hopefully that was helpful.